How's it going today, guys? Today I'm at one of my favorite abandoned farmhouses of all time. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you'll be familiar with this house. I call this house Overgrown House, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Overgrown House was actually the very first episode on my YouTube channel, and I've come a long way since then. This is the first time I've been here in the winter, so that's pretty cool. I've always wanted to see what it looks like in the snow. This is a pretty desolate house out here. As you can see, I'm right in the middle of a bunch of fields. There's not even a road that takes you to this farmhouse. That's one of the unique things about it to me. I really like these farmhouses that don't have roads that go to them anymore. You can see the people that did live here, they planted a lot of trees around here. And there's a lot of bushes, and this is why I call it the Overgrown House. As you can see, it's being swallowed up by this bush. You can't even get to the front door anymore. This is kind of a newer abandoned farmhouse, I would say, but still pretty old. And it's got a lot of outposts, cool little garage / shop right there. And it's still in pretty good shape because it's got a metal roof on it. And when you look closely, you could see the old roofing that they had on it back in the day. But to stop it from leaking, they put some metal over the top of it. So this roof's actually doing great. Its only problem is these trees that are growing around it and falling on it now. And you got a couple other little outposts out here. Just a little storage shop, and I'm not really sure what that aluminum thing is over there, to be honest with you guys. And then this structure right here looks like it used to be some kind of old food pantry or something. Let's look at it. Still relatively well taken care of. It looks like the concrete was laid in 1959, so this is about a 60-year-old structure here. I wish I had a flashlight with me, but I don't. But as you can see, this was just an old food pantry, it looks like. There's just a bunch of shelves in here. But it was very well built. It's a nice sunny winter day in eastern Washington out here. A little bit of snow on the ground up here. Like I was saying earlier, look at all the trees they planted out here. The people that ran this little farm, they really got after it, you can tell. They had a bunch of fences put up out here that are all pretty much falling down now. Just such a nice area out here. They had a lot of peace and quiet, I can tell you that. I was looking at this roof more closely this time because, like I said, this is one of my favorite houses to visit. And I noticed that even at one time, the roof got replaced. There are cedar shake shingles up there, but at some point, somebody went up there and put some composite up there. But the composite's starting to blow off, and those cedar shakes aren't holding up quite like they used to. So unfortunately, it is starting to leak, but it's definitely getting damaged at a slower rate than a lot of these old farmer pioneer houses that didn't have some composite put on at a later date. Like I said, they were really about their trees out here. And look at these bushes, that's wild. Swallowing up the whole front of the house. It's crazy how they're able to grow so well out here, while all these other trees are drying up and falling down. I would have loved to see this house when it was first built. I bet you it was awesome. Like I said, it's a newer house. It's got the white siding on it, which is a indication that it's newer. And from that concrete work dating back to the 60s, I think that's a pretty good timestamp. So now we're gonna go into the house, and I'm gonna walk around the house with you guys. This is another one of those farmhouses too that's just one story. There's no stairs, and it's not a super big house, so this will be a pretty quick walk, really. Got a hard time getting in here now because the bushes are starting to overtake the back door too, but I'm gonna be as careful as possible because I try to be respectful to these old farmer houses and the property owners, and I don't want to damage anything any more than it already is. These shelves are awesome. Right when you walk into the house, you've got all these drawers and these shelves and a place to put your dirty shoes and your jackets and stuff. That was important back in these old farmer pioneer cemetery houses, because upon coming home from a long day's work, you're often really dirty and didn't want to track all that stuff through your house. So now we are in the house. I'm going to start out in the kitchen and show you guys around a little bit. This was a really awesome kitchen at one point in time, not only because of the window placement here, but by looking at all these shelves that are laying around. This kitchen had a lot of cabinet space back in the day. I bet you a lot of good meals were cooked here. Got this cool old school sink here. Let's check it out. Kitchens are usually one of the first places to get wrecked in these old farmhouses. My theory still to this day is just because they got water pipes and stuff like that, and that just leads to things eroding faster and faster. But why all the roofs over the kitchen seem to be the first roofs to cave in? That's a question I still have not been able to answer. So if anybody has a logical answer for why the kitchen roofs always seem to be the first roofs to cave in these farmhouses, comment down below and let me know, because I would really like to know myself. Like I said, they had really good window placement in these farmhouses back in the day. That's a view. This is definitely one of my favorite kitchens of any of these abandoned farmhouses I've been to, just because of the way it's set up. Oh yeah, and I wanted to show you guys this old wallpaper over here. I'm glad I remembered before I left the kitchen. Is that 70s or what? You got your frying pans and teapot and all that. I just thought that was really cool. I always get excited for some reason when I find old school wallpaper in these houses. And again, the living room, just the way it's set up and built in here, I really like it. These farmers always had plenty of windows to maximize their light. And I love this glass door here too. Still in pretty good shape, all things considered. You can see the bushes now, they're completely overtaking the living room windows. Pretty surprised at how nice of a day it is out for the end of January. It's really cold, but what a nice day out. I'm glad I was able to come out here and visit Overgrown house for a little while. It's so cool that the bushes are completely taking this house over. I imagine the road at one point was out there and they drove into the house and probably parked out in front of one of the trees out here, and that was their front yard. I would love to see some pictures of this house when somebody was living in it, because even the yard, I'm kind of fascinated with how this yard looked. I bet you they had a bunch of cool flowers and it was really nice out there. What's sad about these old abandoned farmhouses, you see how nice they probably were back in the day. And you got the blue room, again with an amazing window. That is an incredible window there. What a view. This would have been my bedroom if I lived in this house. I'm gonna lead you guys through the dark here for a minute. Show you guys the bathroom. Tile work still holding up pretty good. Whoever did the tiles did a really good job in this house. And again, what an amazing window to have right here. You can take your shower, look out the window and have a great view. You're in complete privacy, really. And that's kind of odd to have those shelves up right there behind the tub, but that kind of threw me off. I don't really get that. Never really seen anything like that before. And the toilet's still intact, and you got your sink. And more tiles. They did tiles on the walls even in this bathroom. Let's go check out the other bedroom. Got a nice storage area there. This is the other bedroom. Again, God, I love the windows. I just love these old windows. I wish they did them today like they did back in the day. Now we're back into the living room. It's just such a unique and interesting house. This is definitely in the top 5 houses that I've been to that I would love to see what it looked like back in the day. I truly would. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And the layout is just absolutely incredible. As you can see, unfortunately, it is finally starting to leak up here in the living room too, and probably in the bedrooms, and pretty soon, unfortunately, they'll start looking like the kitchen over here. The kitchen's completely exposed. As you can see, maybe a tree fell over here at one time, and that's what happened. That is just a big open gap right there, isn't it? It's a pretty cool old light too. Trying to get a close-up on it. Yeah, look at the ceiling over here. Starting to take a pretty big beating. Yeah, unfortunately, I think this house is going to start deteriorating at a faster rate now, just because the roof is just going to start getting worse and worse. And that's one of the main lessons I've learned about houses through looking at these abandoned farmhouses is how important the roof is. Wanted to give you guys a close-up on these drawers too. The rats have overtaken them now, but I bet you this was a mighty fine countertop back in its day. Kind of want to go look at that hole in the roof over here a little more closely. My theory now is that it got banged up by a tree. There's probably an old tree over here, or a branch from that tree that's out there, and it broke off during a windstorm out here because it gets really windy, and it just bashed into the ceiling over here. I wonder who lived here back in the day and what their lives were like. It'd be really cool to see some pictures of them and just kind of learn about their lives a little bit. Because this was somebody's dream home at one point in time. it fascinates me how life is like that. You work so hard to build something like this, but eventually, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, it all kind of just erodes away. Somebody spent their whole life out here, and this property was their life, and now here it sits all by itself, pretty much just being farmed around now, which is the fate of most of these old farmer houses. And this stuff too, this is some kind of weird insulation or paper they had on the walls in these rooms. It's something else that's kind of different too, and if anybody knows what it is, let me know, because this house was probably lived in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and just some kind of weird insulation they had on the walls. Not plaster, but it's not cloth either. It was really good seeing this house today. Probably going to be a long time before I come back and visit this house, maybe a couple years. And hopefully by then I have a drone. I've been thinking about getting a drone and adding that to my channel, because there's a lot of shots that I can get with the drone that I just can't get myself. I'd like to fly up on the roofs and do some close-ups of the house from a higher vantage point than I can do myself. So that's probably going to be season 4 of No Name Explorations. There'll be a lot of drone flights and stuff like that coming up. I really would love to fly the drone over this house. It's definitely one of my favorites. Right now I'm walking on the walkway that was probably the same path that the people that live here took back in the day when they came home from work. There's a little concrete slab up there. So it's really confusing though, because it seems like there could have been a road right up here at one point in time, but I also think maybe they could have come off the other road up there and drove down by the trees. I just don't know. There's a lot of mysteries about this house, and well, you see, the thing is, now that I'm looking at it more closely, the garage door is right there, so they definitely came in from over here. And geez, that's a big tree too. Look at the size of that tree. If anybody knows what kind of tree this is, please let me know in the comments, because I want to know. Look at that bad boy. Wow. This is definitely the road they came in on. I can see it now. Right up here, and I'm guessing maybe the old road's just farmed over now. get one final view of the house from a distance here. Just such a wonderful day out. Gosh, I really want to see some old photos of this farmhouse right here. Have their old fence here. This is just awesome. Bet you it was just a great place to live back in the day. It's just really hard to get any kind of historical documentation on any of these houses. The cemeteries are easy, but getting any documentation on these houses is pretty tough. I haven't been able to find one story yet on any of these houses about anybody that lived in them or anything. I take that back. There is the Northrop Canyon house that I just featured on an episode on my YouTube channel just recently. And here within the next couple weeks, I have a historical special for you guys on that house. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Mrs. Northrop was actually murdered at the Northrop Canyon homestead. And I'm going to do a story about her and her family. And it's going to be really interesting. As you can see, this place is really desolate out here. There's nothing around it. And it's quite the walk to get here. Just walking on old wheat fields now out here in eastern Washington. It's a desert, but it sure does get wet and cold. And the truth is, we haven't had a real true snow season in a while here. So there's times where this ground probably had 3 or 4 feet of snow. And I can imagine, or I can't imagine, how that must have been back in the day, especially before the dam was built out here. Just how they dealt with the really horrendous snow seasons like that. It just blows my mind. Let's get one more look at the wheat field in this old abandoned house before we call it a day. Isn't that something? Well, I hope you guys are enjoying my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in the next episode or the next walk and talk or whatever it is that I do. Thank you.